So there have been some really big headlines in the news this week. Hey everyone, welcome to Campbell's Coins. This is not a crypto channel. In fact, I've done a couple of videos on crypto, I think going back to 2020, and why the systems being set up are nothing more than Ponzi schemes. And lo and behold, this week we are seeing the second largest crypto exchange collapse. Big shocker, right? Well, it is for a lot of people. Amazingly, people say, don't put your crypto on exchanges, and next to no one listens to these folks. I'm sure you've heard of the FTX collapse by now, a crypto exchange that lost billions overnight when its depositors came to collect, only to find their crypto and money was gone. It is shaping up to be quite possibly the single largest collapse in a day in world history. But the collapse of this crypto exchange goes far beyond this alleged slush fund shell game. FTX was a crypto exchange created by Sam Bankman-Fried and 10 romantically involved friends of similar ages running it in a mansion out of the Bahamas. Who is Sam Bankman-Fried?
The guy you see next to me is the most generous billionaire in the world, and I found him.
Hi, my name is Sam.
Going forward, I will refer to this hobbit as SBF. He was an MIT grad. SBF was the CEO of FTX, the second largest crypto exchange in the world, and a billionaire before he hit 30. Essentially the golden boy of crypto, he appeared on the cover of Forbes and Fortune magazine. He grew up in California with an academic and politically connected family. His mother Barbara is a lawyer and co-founder of multiple Democratic fundraisers like Mind the Gap. His father Joseph was a law professor and helped his son raise funds for the company. SBF found a loophole in trading Bitcoin early on in his career. He found that he could buy Bitcoin in America for $10,000 and sell it to Japan for $11,000. It's a $1,000 profit. He exploited this trade time and time again, earning millions, which he used to start Alameda Research. Alameda Research was made up of close college friends and work friends of SBF's, and a key part in the collapse of FTX, one of which was SBF's girlfriend, Carlin, who had no experience with finance, but ended up being a CEO and managing billions with Alameda Research. Alameda Research was a hedge fund for cryptocurrencies, carrying out trades, matching buyers and sellers, and giving investors a supposed return. In 2019, a promotional ad shows that Alameda Research was offering a 15% annualized fixed-rate return with seemingly no downside. If you are familiar with cryptos at all, you know that they don't just head upwards. In addition to their customers, FTX would quietly send FTX customers' funds to Alameda Research for trading. Gambling and investing with customer funds without their knowledge is a clear violation of traditional finance and highly illegal.
And customer funds were transferred to Alameda. Now, both the Wall Street Journal and Reuters are reporting that billions of dollars was being used on Alameda. So billions of dollars in FTX customer money is being traded on the Alameda, through their trading house. And so that's especially concerning. I mean, you can't take customer funds without their consent.
Customer funds from here to over here, because that is spectacularly illegal.
Oh, yeah. That doesn't happen on Wall Street. That is a clear violation of securities.
Oh, we're not in Wall Street. We're in the Bahamas, though.
We're in the Bahamas.
How did FTX and Alameda Research become so popular? And most importantly, how did these companies go for so long without being found out or exposed? Turns out FTX sent lots of money to politicians. About $20 million went to Biden during his election in 2020. $40 million went to the Democrats for the midterms just this last couple of weeks ago. And about $20 million went to the Republicans, all in an effort to gain favor with policymakers to support permissionless finance. Sam was the second largest donor to the Democratic Party, right behind George Soros. Here is a photo of Sam with members of Congress and the Financial Services Committee after the first hearing on crypto regulations. The very people supposed to be keeping these types of things from happening. FTX also paid off media outlets, media spokespersons for favorable articles and interviews.
JP Morgan,
of this generation, Sam Bankman-Fried's FTX,
Yes.
is slashing everybody's margin, and average fees per transaction across the industry have declined by 50%. A lot of that is the man, Sam Bankman-Fried.
And to keep unfavorable questions and things from reaching the public. Paid millions to Vox, The Intercept, Semaphore, ProPublica, and many others. Athletes, actors, and financial bigwigs were also paid off as a giant sales push to get unsuspecting suckers to jump on in. Big companies like BlackRock and SoftBank invested into his vision. One notable character who repeatedly tried selling FTX to his followers was Kevin O'Leary.
If there's ever a place I could be that I'm not going to get in trouble, it's going to be at FTX. Because I wanted to have a compliant home. Well, I have to disclose I'm a shareholder. Ben, you should be aware, is a shareholder in WonderFi as well. He came in around the same time I did. I am a paid spokesperson for FTX, so I have a lot of respect for the management there. I did a lot of due diligence before I accepted that position because I wanted to have a compliant home. But Sam is one of the smarter guys in this space for this reason. Long before crypto, he was a trader. He understands the power of leverage, both to the dark side and the upside of performance. So I'm going to guess, and it's a personal opinion, the last guy to blow up is going to be Sam Bankman-Fried because he doesn't get himself caught in over-levered positions. Now, they're very, very good in terms of managing their own business. He's got a huge team there. Ryan, the CEO, they also manage the Americas differently. They do the rest of the world. They're compliance. His parents are compliance lawyers at Stanford. I mean, he doesn't have a better heritage in terms of managing this process.
I'm kind of stuck on your comment that you're so confident that this can be the bottom. How can you be confident of that? What do you know about CZ, Binance, BNB Coin? How do you know that it's not leveraged, that there are many more dominoes to fall here? We just had someone from another exchange who hasn't even published their board of directors. You invested in FTX, and that wasn't exactly a wise choice. You said you did due diligence, but clearly it wasn't enough.
No. I mean, look, I'm going to agree. It was a terrible investment, 100%, and I lost my money. I get it.
Lots of folks in retirement funds invested their money in FTX, and now it's all gone. The Canadian Teachers Pension Fund invested about $95 million in FTX last year. Do you think those teachers will get their money back? There is an odd Ukrainian connection to this whole story, and it's slowly unfurling. I don't know. I'm not going to go into it that much, but FTX was used as an intermediary to send crypto funds to Ukraine in March 2022. There is a massively glaring issue here that I haven't heard anyone else discuss. SBF used his exchange just like fractional reserve banks. He took people's deposits and moved them into other investments and companies without their knowledge. People have called SBF a fraud, a scammer, and that the whole thing he set up was a Ponzi scheme. But they don't see the parallels with our current fractional reserve banking system. Our current banking system is set up the exact same way. We deposit money into the bank, they invest that cash without our knowledge, and this is why you sign a contract with your bank when you set up your accounts, effectively making any cash you deposit in the bank's money. It really comes down to integrity. People will look the other way as long as they get their payments. Look at how many financial channels and personas, celebrities and whatnot, fell over themselves for this person with the personality of a candle. The problem is the people who should be looking into these things to protect consumers are the ones looking the other way. Look at history and the companies who have triggered other collapses. Enron, Lehman Brothers, Bear Stearns. All of these massively failed companies were under some sort of oversight, but people looked the other way when the cash is thrown their way. There are talks to bring SBF and his Scooby-Doo gang back to the United States for questioning, but I'm sure that is as far as it's going to go. I bet you nothing will happen to SBF and his friends due to his political connections. The millions of dollars in donations that he made to both parties, I'm sure will come in handy when you need something to be swept under the rug. It's no accident when you do things you know you're not supposed to do. By the way, Caroline Ellison, the girlfriend of SBF and CEO of Alameda Research, is the daughter of Glenn Ellison, professor of economics at MIT, and the former boss of Gary Gensler. Who is Gary Gensler? Oh, he's just a former professor at MIT and the current head of the SEC, Securities Exchange Commission. About $500 million was recently hacked out of FTX and dumped into Ethereum. Many believe this was SBF who had full access to these funds and could easily move them through a back door. I bring all of this up and try to make these connections because it echoes what I've seen in the past. A bunch of institutions who collapse because their books were cooked. It's all a house of cards. The system is over-leveraged. I wouldn't be surprised if this were the start of something larger. Other companies failing because they were invested with X company and so on and so forth. We saw this exact same thing happen in 2008. One by one, companies started failing because they were incestuously invested with one another. Government steps in and bails out a few of them, and it all starts all over again. Institutions, companies, and even people are more leveraged today than they were during the financial crisis of 2008. U.S. consumer debt climbed past its fastest annual pace since 2008. People are hurting, and they are charging their card for a lot of necessities. All of what is happening now, and has happened before, harkens back to some wise words spoken by George Carlin. I'll put that at the end of the video. In the meantime, stack physical gold and silver to protect your wealth. If you don't hold it, you don't own it. Your time is your most precious asset, and I appreciate you spending it here with me. Thank you for watching, and that is my 2 cents.
Forget the politicians. The politicians are put there to give you the idea that you have freedom of choice. You don't. You have no choice. You have owners. They own you. They own everything. They own all the important land. They own and control the corporations. They've long since bought and paid for the Senate, the Congress, the state houses, the city halls. They got the judges in their back pockets. And they own all the big media companies, so they control just about all of the news and information you get to hear. They got you by the balls. They spend billions of dollars every year lobbying to get what they want. Well, we know what they want. They want more for themselves and less for everybody else. But I'll tell you what they don't want. They don't want a population of citizens capable of critical thinking. They don't want well-informed, well-educated people capable of critical thinking. They're not interested in that. That doesn't help them. That's against their interest. You know something? They don't want people who are smart enough to sit around the kitchen table to figure out how badly they're getting fucked by a system that threw them overboard 30 fucking years ago. They don't want that. You know what they want? They want obedient workers. Obedient workers. People who are just smart enough to run the machines and do the paperwork, and just dumb enough to passively accept all these increasingly shittier jobs with the lower pay, the longer hours, the reduced benefits, the end of overtime, and the vanishing pension that disappears the minute you go to collect it. And now they're coming for your Social Security money. They want your fucking retirement money. They want it back, so they can give it to their criminal friends on Wall Street. And you know something? They'll get it. They'll get it all from you sooner or later, because they own this fucking place. It's a big club, and you ain't in it. You and I are not in the big club. And by the way, it's the same big club they use to beat you over the head with all day long when they tell you what to believe. All day long, beating you over the head in their media, telling you what to believe, what to think, and what to buy. The table is tilted, folks. The game is rigged. And nobody seems to notice. Nobody seems to care. Good, honest, hard-working people, white collar, blue collar, doesn't matter what color shirt you have on. Good, honest, hard-working people continue. These are people of modest means. Continue to elect these rich cocksuckers who don't give a fuck about them. They don't give a fuck about you. They don't give a fuck about you. They don't...